Good morning. It's day 2 of our fence build. We're building a little bit of a fence around the deck at my husband's family's cottage so that we can safely contain the dogs while we're down there. I'm still going to be using the same materials that I did on the fence panels, which are 1x3 furring strips and 1x2 furring strips right here. There we go. These are very inexpensive. I believe that the 1x3s cost about $1.75 each, and the 1x2s cost about $1.25. And these were what I'm using for my slats, and I get 2 slats out of each one. So it's $1.25, but it's actually less than that, half of that, because we're getting 2 out of each one. Now today we're going to be doing the gates. All right. Now I need 3 gates total. 2 of them are going to be 4 feet wide, and as luck would have it, these come in 8-foot strips, which means no waste. So in order to make my gates, I am going to cut my 1x3s in half, and it will give me 2 4-foot sections. Okay, this little frame is 4 feet wide and 3.5 feet tall. Okay, that is the height of the rest of our fence as well. Now, this is not very strong because, look, this is the only spot on this that has 2 layers is in the corners. When it is done, all the edges, this side, all of it is going to be 2 layers thick. And I'll explain what I mean by that. My next task will be to cut another piece to fit in between these. Okay, well, as you can see, or maybe not, these fit pretty nicely in here. I'll get them just perfect, and then I will check for square. This one here too, pretty good fit there. It'll look better once I make it square and screw everything off. Now, we remember yesterday that when we check for square, what we do is we measure from one corner to the other, and then measure the opposite way and compare our numbers. If they match, you're good. Okay, so I screwed in these members. I just cut them so that they would fit in between. So on the side, this whole side is 2 layers thick. Now I'm going to turn it over and show you what I did on the other side. All right. Okay, here I've got some splaining to do. All right. On this side, instead of having another 2x3 going all the way across like so, I only put a small section, the amount that would be between slats, okay, which is this much, okay, in between, and then I switched to a 1x2 for this part here. Now the reason is that my slats have to go, and I want to screw them to something. This will give me a nailing surface right here. Now also on the fence pieces, I cut them on an angle. See how that's on an angle? And that was so that when I made my, here, this is what it more looks like. The angle terminated on the top. It gives it a finished look, and we talked about how it sheds water. Now I don't want an angle here, okay? See how I already don't have a whole lot of a screwing surface? I'm not going to cut these on an angle. These are going to terminate right like that, and that'll give me more of a screwing surface. And you might be wondering, well, Sandra, why did you not just use one of these all the way across? What is up with this block here, here, and here. Well, I'm glad you asked. And if I didn't have this nailing surface here, my hinge might not hit, 2 layers of wood the whole way across. Okay, I have a visual to help you understand, okay? Here are my strap hinges, okay? Now, see how this part of the hinge runs off of this? Now, this little block is going to be my friend, all right? Because for me to have, if this thin one went all the way to here, all right? See how this hinge wouldn't touch it? I would have to move my hinge up like that for it to catch. And who wants your hinge sticking up like that? Okay, I cut one slat and you can see how it fits in. I'm just going to put my screw here and here. But before I do that, since I have this one measured correctly, I am going to use it to make another block, okay? Because I'm going to have to cut, I estimate, I think it's 36 of these. Okay, so I created another block, and right here you can very easily see exactly what I did. So I locked my blade down so you can see this is my slat. We already measured this, and this one works well. So in other words, you can see that this is a consistent length between here, because I screwed all this down. It's all part of the table. This is all part of the table. Every time I put a slat in here, and as long as it's flush up against this block, they should all be a consistent length. See these stickers on the end? I don't know if you can see, but it's not just a freaking sticker. It's also a staple. And these staples are the bane of my freaking existence. It takes like several minutes to try to pull one out with like needle nose pliers or whatever, and they will mess you up. That little staple on the end, you can't leave it. But instead of wrestling with it, since I have to cut some off anyway, when I feed my wood into my block, as long as I make sure that the sticker and the staple is on this end, it will get thrown away. As you can see, I've got all mine over here. They all have that stupid sticker. And this way, if I'm just cutting them off as scrap, I don't have to wrestle with it. Helps me save what little sanity I have. Okay, I have enough slats cut for this particular gate. Now, I've got very little area in which to screw. Okay, now when you're trying to screw something near the end of a board, especially if it's a thin one, you always have to pre-drill, and that's what I'm going to do now. And I'm going to pre-drill on a little bit of an angle. All right, my angle, I'm going to drill down this way so it goes more into the meat of the wood. If I go this way, I risk missing it because I have a very small screwing surface here. So I'm going to start about there. And once I'm in a little bit, I'm going to turn ever so slightly that way. And I'm going to do that for all of them. Okay. This is what the panel looks like right now. And as I had mentioned before, this was my space in between each one. So it's nice and consistent. Okay. Now, this is what the other side of it looks like. And I am sitting on the fence, if you'll pardon the pun. I'm putting a cross piece here on these gates. Now, the cross piece helps to keep it from racking, like meaning letting it fall out of square. It'll keep it from doing that. But I'm kind of afraid of adding too much weight to the gate. And I mean, this thing is, I really do not think that it's going to rack at all. I might do something different in the corners to keep it from racking. I'm going to come up with something that's going to be a happy medium. It'll keep it from racking, but it won't add too much weight. You wait. It'll be good. Okay, instead of having two careful cross pieces, like I do with my fence panels over there, all I'm going to do to keep it from being so heavy, I'm just going to put some pieces in the corner, each corner just like that, okay? Now, the length of these is kind of arbitrary, okay? Just a corner piece in the corner will do the trick as long as it catches one of these slats and both sides. Now, I want these to be a consistent size, okay? And I can easily do that without even having to create a block, okay? Now, all I did for these ones is line this up, okay, to the end of my saw. You can see that my next one, my last one, rather, that's exactly how it was, so I could put it there. And no, I'm not going to run this saw while I'm holding the phone. Let me see if I can show you what I mean. This way, I don't waste any of my lumber, okay? So, I've got it where my angle is this way, and I'm going to make another angle this way. I'm lining up the edge of my wood with the very end of my saw, and that's kind of like my block. And then I have another piece that's exactly the same size as the other ones, and then all I do, I'm not going to waste any wood, I'm just going to flip it over, so now that angle's this way, okay? I'm going to slide it up until it reaches the end of my saw. That way I know it's exactly the same size as all the rest of them. And now I can do as many of these as I want. Now you can see that I pre-drilled 3 holes and I already have some screws in. And I just want to show you what is my plan here. Okay, there it goes. Okay, that one's a gimme. You're going to see that this one is going to go right into that slat. But these ones, I'm going to drill them in on an angle. Okay, so this screw is going to go in through this. And I use some longer screws. These are 1 5/8, and these are 1 1/4. I can't go longer than 1 1/4 here because it'll poke out the other side. But here, as you can see, when it goes through this one, it's got all this meat that it can go through. So why not give it a longer screw? Always up for a longer screw. Okay, and that's all we're talking about right there. Okay, well, I've got all 3 gates done. The 2 on either end are 4 feet wide. The one in the center is a little bigger, and it's 53 inches wide. Next video will be down at the cottage for the install. This cute little bug right here is actually a baby ladybug. Doesn't look like a ladybug right now, does it? They kind of go through a metamorphosis, sort of kind of like butterflies do, and this is just part of its life stage that people don't typically recognize them when they're in this particular stage of their life. Bye! This piece right here is a bit bowed, okay? My board is bowed. Now you can see that on the ends it's flush right here, but then as it comes towards the middle, look at the big difference there, okay? So it's curved this way, okay? So what I did was I nailed down the 2 edges so that they are flush here. See them be flush? Now, this screw, I started it, but I didn't drive it home yet. What I'm gonna do is with one hand, I'm gonna push it this way so that it's flush here, see? And then I'll drive it home with the other hand. I don't have a third hand to hold the camera, so you're just gonna have to trust me. I'll show you after. Okay, now it is flush all the way across.